Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us today at the FamilyWorth Studio. FamilyWorth, for those that are just joining us for the first time, it's a non-for-profit organization really around the space of families. The major drive is we believe the worth of the family is to be preserved. The value we place in families should be preserved, should be priorities at all levels of individual and different levels of government and community effort. So for us, family is worth it. That is a key driver. And we always try to make it clear that our point of reference is a Christian worldview. As you know, when you are leading a conversation around such sensitive area, such delicate aspect of humanity, you need a point of reference. You need some kind of boundaries in case there are conflict, in case there are issues or challenges to engage. And three value system or three value areas that is really big for us in FamilyWorth is love, hope, and faith. Everything we do, we try to keep around those value drivers. Love, I don't think that needs explanation to many people unless you want to go into some deeper aspect, which is not the focus of today. Hope, as you know, these days the world needs hope. And then faith. Faith is quite critical. Faith believes that tomorrow is going to be better. Faith believes that however things look like today, we don't dwell on what we see alone. We do not dwell on the current situation alone. We believe that faith goes with belief. So those are some of the key areas. And then the other aspect for us is wisdom. I know there are different narratives and definitions around wisdom, but in the simplest term for us in FamilyWorth, we see it as doing the right thing and doing it rightly. Very simple. That could be another subject. And then the other aspect that we try to dwell on, which is key for us, is balance. Life these days, different aspect of life needs some kind of balancing. Keep the balance right. Many times we don't get it fully right, but if you can at least maintain some level of balance, especially when it comes to family, it will be a reasonable effort. The topic today, which is really, this is something that it's very important for us. It comes in form of a question, but we'll try and unpack it. Who wins? It could be a rhetorical question. We're not expecting answers, but today we want to lead conversation around that. Somebody told me earlier on, was one of our panel or one of our social media pages, when she saw who wins, she told me Trump wins. Of course, we know what is happening in our world today. But today is not about politics. It's not about Trump. It's not about Biden. It's not about government. It's not about politics. It's about life. In the issues of life, who wins? In the family situation, we need to ask ourselves that question. At the end of the day, who wins? And that is being driven by the current global celebration, if you call it effort, Movember. Some of us may know what Movember means, but for some other people, it may take a time to appreciate it. Of course, whenever you see Movember, what comes to mind is the mustache. Movember is an annual event involving growing mustache or mustaches of different sorts during the month of November to raise awareness about men's health issues, including various cancers and suicide. I know that testicular cancer is a big killer for, unfortunately, for men these days. Of course, prostate is something that everybody now knows that you need to do some check at some point in time as a man. So there are various, of course, the other one, bowel cancer. So there's quite a lot. So Movember has come to stay over the years, just to highlight men's health, add to the conversation, add to the awareness, and they are doing a lot. So you could visit their website, movember.com. But in terms of FamilyWorth, our contribution today is not so much in growing mustache, even though I've started a little bit. I know I still have some way to go to get it to the picture you just seen. But every year I just try to add my personal voice and also via FamilyWorth, because when we talk about men, really it's about a family. So I really just want to go back to our topic, who wins? So when we see that Movember, what comes to mind? I've used this picture a couple of times. I just want to flag it again because it's just something that is really, really, it's a big question, and everybody for that matter, not just men, should have a bit of a wake-up call, an alert when you see this kind of stats. And this is just for Australia. I'm sure other people in other regions of the world can also relate to this. 3,000 deaths due to suicide, 8 plus per day on the average in Australia, 8 plus. And out of these, 6.4, of course, this is in form of stats, so you'll be wondering why can we have 6.4, but let's just go with it. Over 6 men on the average per day, and then 2 for females. You can already see that difference. Of course, we're not saying our sisters, our wives, our daughters are not important in this. 2 female is quite a big number in itself. But today our focus is on men because of Movember, just allows our sisters and friends, our girlfriends, just allows today for men. And 81% of those, this is quite remarkable, is due to relationship breakdown. Over 80% of those suicide deaths. And you start asking the question, I don't know, I'm sure other men like me are asking the question. It may not be you. Can I just say here, if you have everything sorted out in your family, in your relationship, in your workplace, in your life endeavors, or you're so blessed. But I'm sure a lot of people, like myself, still have a long way to go in sorting out everything about relationship at different levels, workplace, community, families. Today's focus is family. So I'm just going through these stats, and this is why we are focused to this topic. When you look at those kind of stats, does it do something in you? Does it trigger something, even if you cannot do anything about it? Does it make you to pause? As a man, those men are like you and I, or you and me. But even if you're not a man, you should have a man in your life, a son, an uncle, a father, a neighbor. So it shouldn't just be a man's situation here. every one of us need to be concerned when you hear such statistics, and we must work together. So Movember has been trying, so we can also add our own Movember. Like I said, the signal or the symbol is always mustache. But even if you don't grow a mustache, you could donate. You could say a few kind words to men in your life or boys in your lives. But for family work today, we're just leading a conversation around this whole topic. Again, to create awareness, also to just ask a few questions of us that could lead to actions at different levels. I know normally I will ask for those that are watching. We don't have many people on the panel right now, but I can see one. One is always a big number for me. Please let us know. Let us know you're there. It's always a good thing not to feel alone, especially when you are discussing something like this. Even if you're a lady, it doesn't matter. But if you're a man, you could join me as well as a lady in this conversation. So we do appreciate your participation, because this is not meant to be a monologue. Even if you see this or you watch this later, please participate, leave comments. I'm keen to hear other thoughts. I'm not a specialist here. I'm leading a conversation actually. So if you are there, please a shout out. Let me know you're there so that I can give you the respect that you are that is due yourself. You could check us out in different platforms later. But I'm really keen to get to the topics of the day, just to again remind us, if you can, keep in touch with us. We always like to be in touch with people who share similar value and visions as FamilyWorth. Before I go going too far, can I start highlighting if everything we are saying today triggers some kind of need to talk to someone, some kind of emotions, or you know someone who may need to talk to people, because one of the big killers, especially for us men, we do hear that men don't cry, men don't talk. Unfortunately, the statistics we've shown speaks for itself. We don't talk, we don't cry, but we are dying. Again, I know some men that may see this have got it all right. That's fine. Please join us. Put a word of encouragement. Some men don't like encouragement, but if you are in that group, and I have my own challenges. I'm not leading this as someone that has it all sorted out. And it's not a matter of trying to display my weakness in the public domain. It's just trying to say enough is enough. We cannot just keep silent, because silence is more comfortable. There's a time for silence, I agree. But when you see the kind of statistics I showed earlier on, hey, it's not time for silence. So if you need to talk to someone, either by reason of watching this episode today or some other time, please, these are numbers that are in Australia, and I know similar organizations are in other places. These people are always there to help. They have counselors every time on the other side of the phone, ready to talk to you, give you the right information, give you guidance. And even if kids are involved, the same thing, just give them a call and they are ready to talk. If you are in a vulnerable situation, give them a call, they are ready to talk to you. So I would just like to go back to that question. At the end of the day, the key thing for us today, when you see stats like that, can I just acknowledge, oh, NK Jock, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate this. Please, just chip in anytime. I appreciate your input. Like I said, this is not meant to be a monologue. The more we share like this, the more we add voices together, the stronger the voice is, and the more we can together win this war. So I really appreciate that, Jock. Please chip in your contributions when you need to. But the question really today, with that kind of stats I just shared, I can see that few people on the platform. I flag this, not so much that I'm happy to always show this, but it's just a prop, it's a trigger for why we are asking the question, who wins when we have this kind of situation? And I know we're in Movember. We are primarily directing these questions to men, but men and people that care about men in their lives. Please, it's not about men, it's about family. So feel free to join the conversation as well. Chip in if you need to. But let me just go to some of the highlights. So I'm asking, with this kind of stats, the question becomes, who wins when someone close to you is suffering, and we miss it? And every suicide, for example, is traumatic. I've not had one very close to me, but I don't need to. We are community, we are family. So nobody wins when these kind of things keep happening around us. And it seems like the world, the community, including people of migrant and multicultural background, we've taken an oath of silence. We just want to assume that this is not happening, as long as it's not close to a corridor. So we need to open up conversations about this in a positive way. Like today, I'm always open to feedback. If there's a way I could have done better to be positive about this topic, please let me know. But we cannot afford to just uh, keep to the status quo when we have the kind of statistics I showed earlier on. You know, it's scary to have thousands of people die in a year due to suicide. It's scary. And I know it has its complexity. There's no easy answer. It's a complex situation. The causative, the leading factors are still up for research. Thankfully, a lot of forward-thinking government are actually doing research, but we cannot afford to leave it to government researchers alone. We must also talk in the family, because sometimes this situation is not so far from anyone. I can wish it away, I can pray it away, but hey, I have friends, I have neighbors, I have members of my community. So who wins with such statistics? The other one that I need to highlight here, and I think this is primarily directed at men. I don't want anybody to think that we're here to bash the women in our lives, our daughters, our wives, our partners, our mothers. No, but primarily today, because we're in Movember, we really want to direct our thoughts in a positive way to men. So I want to ask this question again. In that same line of thought, who wins? When you win the battle, and you know, sometimes we men, we like winning. We don't like losing. But when you win the battle, when you win the domination, when you win in that domestic violence by bashing someone to submission, when you win in divorce by winning the battle in the court, how do you feel later on to realize that you've lost the war? Because winning a lawsuit is not the end. I'm not saying here that people should not fight for their right. That's why the courts are there. That's why we mentioned earlier on in family world, balance is a big part of what we preach. It's a big part of what we promote. Balance. And that's why I keep saying it. There are many, many sides to a coin. It's more than two these days. We had an earlier episode on that. There are many sides to a coin. It's no longer two. So many times you don't know the full story. That's why it's very risky to prejudge, to rush into judgment. But really, we need to ask ourselves, and really, men, we need to take the lead on this. So that when that battle comes again, can we give a time, just peel back a bit and consider the big picture? I'm not saying we should lie down and allow people to just walk over us, but we must, someone, and I think men, we are positioned to take that position. We must think about the war rather than focus on just the battle. I don't need to start releasing statistics of what happens after divorce, after domestic violence, the impact on children, the impact on families, the mental health war that you are going to be fighting for generations, the exposure of children. And I am increasingly having a soft spot for children because really, many times they get born into families, they didn't ask for it. But when things come hitting families, guess who gets hit big time? Of course, the adults get hit, we know that. But children who have not had a part to play in it, they bear the brunt, sometimes for life, sometimes for generations. So it's time to really, really ask a question. Who wins? Who wins? And I believe, fellow men, we are positioned to really be big picture people. Again, I must state the balance here. Sometimes you fight. Sometimes you don't lie down. Sometimes you have to think about yourself. I know that. But we also need to think about who wins, the balance. I'm really happy that I have a few people on the platform today. Once again, thank you, Jock. I appreciate your coming by. Joshua Lima, thank you for being there. Yes, it's good to have a youth on the platform because this topic concerns everybody. Hey, Korole, that's my man, Pastor Sam. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, Catherine, thank you so much. And Catherine is always contributing, and I really appreciate her comments regularly. What program, activity, initiative, idea can we as a community initiate to get men talking about depression and other mental health issues leading to social isolation society? Catherine, I couldn't say it more than you have. That's why just recently this topic, I couldn't wait for Movember, although the topic is not, Movember is not enough. And it's something that we need to keep trying to do. And somehow, uh, Catherine, you yourself know that we used to think that people of migrant and multicultural background don't get involved in mental health issues and suicide. But we've seen some statistics recently, even though, yes, that's another gap we have. We don't have research and data about that cohort. And hopefully, the universities and those that are really research oriented in this area are looking into that because we cannot keep deceiving ourselves that this whole issue of men's health, it cuts across racial, an age divide, actually. So thank you so much, Catherine. I really appreciate that. Yes, thank you, Joshua. Thanks for that comment. It's a topic that we all equally needs to be interested in. And so I would just ask, highlighting this whole issue. I know it's a common quote out there. You can win the battle and lose the war. And I need to be sensitive here that that's why we have to be careful not to look at one side of issues, especially when it comes to relationship breakdown and families and dysfunctionality or whatever is happening in a family. But most of the time, the solutions come from the inside, not outside. Yes, we need help. And this is why this whole question of who wins, I am primarily directing it to men like myself, starting with me. Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? I really pray and I wish that we win both the war and the battle. And just one last one I just want to highlight here. Again, this is not meant to trigger any offense. It's not meant to sort of devalue also the place of our sisters, wives, partners, mothers, daughters in our lives. But this question primarily is again directed, this is Movember, it's about men today. When men, and that could be women as well, are taking off the balanced equation of the family unit, who wins? Balance is a big thing for us in FamilyWorth. We already mentioned it that FamilyWorth its operations is within the boundary and reference of the Christian worldview. And we believe that the family has its foundation from the Almighty God. No, that's why the war against the family has never, it's not today, it's been from the beginning. And when we try to distort the equation, the balanced equation that was the original design for family, I believe we are experiencing quite a few of the things that we are experiencing now with all the complexities, because we are actually distorting or disrupting the balance. Now, I must say here, again, it comes down to balance here. I'm not saying that if you're in a vulnerable situation like domestic violence, that you stay there and take the slaps and all the beating. No, no, no way. The painful thing is that some of us that have come from other places of the world, we've had some rude awakening in our lives. How that people go to prison because you think bashing a child or a wife or a partner is okay. No, it's not. You go to prison and you could stay there for a while for that. So this is not in any way promoting domestic violence. No. But I'm also trying to ask a question: who wins when you have a family that the equation is no longer balanced? And when I remember my maths, when equation is not balanced, yes, something is not right. You cannot use the equation to develop big stuff. You are calling for trouble. And that is why when the foundation is faulty, the center cannot hold. We have a classical book back in Africa, specifically Nigeria, Things Fall Apart. It's a very popular book. And one quote there is that things fall apart, the center can no longer hold. So I'm just trying to ask some questions that are more or less rhetorical especially for us men and for other people of the family unit who care about men and men in their lives. Because this is not about a kind of battle we and them. No, it's not another battle of otherness, which is a big issue in the world today. A family unit is a family unit, and we believe family is worth it. So let everybody, all stakeholders, just begin to have a rethink about some of these things. I'm not saying that this is an overnight solution. I'm not saying that I have the whole solution, but it's something that I'm also reflecting on because when you are in family for long, you know that there are challenges. And it didn't start today. It will never end now. But the question becomes, we need to always take steps to do better. So I'd just like to begin to enter a few thoughts. I can see that I have 2 persons regularly on the platform. Thank you so much. I appreciate you staying on. And please leave comment. I know that you have something to contribute. Everyone always has something. We're not here to sort of talk about specifics, but there may be things, ideas, principles that you can contribute. But just being there, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So some thoughts, regarding solution here. I mean, you cannot ask who wins those kind of questions successively, and you don't talk about some solutions. Again, cases are different. It's very risky to try to use one case fit all situation. Very especially when you talk about family context. And family is quite a delicate institution. Sometimes I must say, it's a place of safety. It was designed to be like that in the balance equation I mentioned earlier on. But sometimes it could also become one of the dangerous places. And I will explain. Do you know that beyond the 4 walls of families in a home, because family lives in homes, beyond the 4 walls, a lot happen. And unfortunately, sometimes you only get to know or hear after the fact or after the event. And that's just what it is because of the nature of family. It's sacred. It is meant to be a very, how will I put it now? It's meant to be respected a lot because that boundary, it's quite deliberate by the designer. But at the same time, it has its downside in that many times you don't know until things become too late sometimes. People use a word, they don't want to wash their dirty linen in the public. I hear that a lot. And that is fair. Nobody is saying that family should not have their secrets or their boundaries. Everyone has. Every family has theirs. But it comes down again to that word. It's always going to be a word I use a lot these days. Balance. Where is the balance? So each case is different. You cannot use one size fit all here. Yes. Just wanted to say here, I would love to hear from the men on this platform about this important topic. Yes. Thank you, Catherine, for adding voice to mine. It will really be helpful to guide us in combating the stigma attached to masculinity and mental health issues as a weakness. Good point. Catherine, I couldn't say it better. Again, Keisha, thank you. Thank you for joining me today, Keisha. Appreciate you. But just going back to the point by Catherine, I wouldn't have said it better. And I wish now this is 3 in the series. Today is the first one. So I'm hoping that, Catherine, that the men around the episode today, or those that will watch it later, will heed to this call. I strongly agree. I have an urgency and passion to lead some kind of conversation. Not that I'm trying to show off to be a leader of everything, no. But firstly, I'm a man. And when it comes to mental health, you know it, they are spectrum. So I don't want to start saying here that, oh, I'm 100% zero. They are spectrum of that whole situation. And unfortunately, we don't want to get to the point where we snap before we get help. So being proactive is also important here. And again, thank you, Catherine. Thank you for lending your voice to this call. And it's a valid call. So like I was saying earlier on, each case is different. So when you're talking about solution, I don't want to say that this will fit all, but just some thoughts. We need to have a big picture approach. Again, man. Starting from myself, big picture. Don't win the war at the expense, or don't win the battle at the expense of the war. Think of 20 years down the track. Think of your next generation, because there are some of these issues and impact they cut across, caused by someone in a lineage at some time, lack of wisdom, being too rash, hitting fast or going to court fast, throwing in the towel too early. Now, again, I must balance here. And I think that is actually the next point. So once I'm talking about this point here, know the enemy. For us in the Christian worldview, we know this part very well. We know that it's not about my partner just necessarily. That is why the person should not become the punching bag. Or with the case of a man, the person should not become the one that needs to pay the price. Know the enemy. Yeah, I don't want to go into how they call it again, the dimension, the spiritual dimensions of that. Yes, that's maybe for another day, or for some people can do better at that, religious leaders. But it is very important to think big picture. Think big picture. The problem is not that son. It's not that wife or partner. Not necessarily. I know you need to address issues. I know you need to sort out things. I know sometimes you cannot afford to just wait and keep taking all the beatings. but think big picture while you do all the others. These are just thoughts. Like I said earlier on, I'm not saying that this is the only solution or it applies all the time, but the principle remains the same. Think big picture. And I mentioned something about the next point, self-care. I know for sometimes some of us men, we get this wrong because men are fixers. We fix everything. We want to fix everything under the sun. We want to fix the sun. We want to fix our daughter. We want to fix our partners. We want to fix the television. We want to fix everything. And it's no wonder that, again, just allow me to show the statistics again. Are you surprised that you have these statistics? Look at that one that says 6.4 males per day against female. And the question, I'm not saying that female should be more, no. But why? I'm going to leave the answer to that question just open-ended. But we need to learn to have more self-care. Men, of course, women too. Self-care will mean as a woman, you don't stay in an abusive, violent relationship. No, I'm not saying rush to separation or divorce, but sometimes you just need to get away. Get away from danger, get away from harm, get away from lifetime of damage. I know today is about men. So men, I'm talking to myself as well. You don't have to die before you can save the situation. I'll just allow that to sink in a bit. I didn't plan it, but it came out. You don't have to die before you can save that situation. After all, dead men don't talk. Dead men don't bite. I'm not saying this to cause anyone to be violent. No, far from it. Self-care is critical. And I think this is where I need to talk. Again, I did mention a family war is rooted and it's operated around the boundaries or within the boundaries of the Christian worldview. But I also think as Christians and as Christian leaders, we can do better here. Self-care. While we are encouraging people to be resilient, while we're encouraging people to stand in faith, while we're encouraging people to do the will of God, we must also promote wisdom, doing it rightly. Because we need people to live to fight another day. Yes, you don't have to die to sort out the issue. Of course, love, have hope, stand in faith. The family is worth it. That's our major motto in FamilyWorth. But it comes back again to the whole narrative of balance. And I just said this, I didn't know it was the next point. So more often, complexity of family situation require wisdom. Doing the right things the right way. Remember, that's our own simplest way of explaining wisdom. You can do the right thing, but the wrong way. It's right, but it doesn't end up well. And you can do the wrong thing the right way. Do you know that? If that is ever possible. But ultimately, you are doing the wrong thing, especially when you are justifying wrong. So it's just family work. We believe family needs to stay together as much as safely possible, as much as, yeah, I think I can put it in a better way, safely possible. We must try our best, but do it rightly. So just coming back to men, really, I'm talking to myself as well. It's never too late. Um, it's never too late not to be part of this kind of statistics. I did say it earlier on. I just want to say it again that it's just like Catherine said earlier. I think that point she made. If I could just bring Catherine's comment again, it's really good for men to be able to be more open when it comes to our health, including our mental health, because these statistics shouldn't continue. Hopefully, we are winning the battle and also winning the war. It shouldn't continue. And that is a driver of Movember. And that is a contribution of FamilyWorth today. And we believe men can be encouraged. And sometimes we need to encourage ourselves. Men can take actions for self-care. We shouldn't die to fix things because dead men don't make any impact. Takes another 1 year or two of memories and it begins to fade. I'm sorry to say. So let's keep the balance right. I must maintain here, the topic of today was not meant to direct any issues or fingers at anyone. It's just about adding to the narrative of Movember. We care for men. We believe men are important part of the family unit. The equation could hardly balance without the men in the family, and we know that there are cases where it happens. And we're not blaming anyone quickly here. But it doesn't change. The encouragement today is that we need to do more. We need to encourage ourselves. We need to encourage men in our lives. Who knows, somebody may have seen this today and could think twice again regarding that man in your life. We could carry our face as if we are the strongest as men, but we also need encouragement. We get it wrong sometimes. We need a second chance as well. We need a second chance as well. And talking about second chance, I just want to play this clip for you. At the end, I will just say a few things. I will begin to round it up. Once again, thank you everyone that is on the platform. Thank you so much. Even when you watch this later, please leave comments for us. Let us know that you've been here, and let us know that you watch these. Connect with us. We have our various platforms, and we always like people to subscribe. We believe FamilyWorth is contributing, and FamilyWorth is open to ideas and support, and support of various types. we are open to it. And I did say earlier on, if you feel like talking to someone, this is in Australia, about your mental health, if you're at risk, please call Lifeline. They are there, always there, with specialists ready to chat with you and give you the right information. Beyond Blue as well. And this respect line, you have to respect people, otherwise you get into trouble. But if you're in a vulnerable position, please call this number. And of course, where kids are involved, this is big. You don't even want to even waste time. Call this number if you know of any kid that is at risk. They are there to support. Like I said earlier on, men need a second chance. And I think this is one of the undoing of men. We're so unforgiving of ourselves that we think making one mistake is the end of it. No, 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 it's not the end. And FamilyWorth is big on that, on the issue of second chance. We believe that there's forgiveness. We believe no one is beyond redemption. And more so, we know that our framework, our boundaries is a Christian worldview. Ultimately, we know that the price has been paid. Just want to play this clip talking about men and a second chance. I know it starts from young boys, but just watch and I will come back. Yeah, I know that video clip, in case there's explanation needed. Those boys could represent men. They messed up themselves big time. They made some mistakes. They were really, really dirty. They looked very unforgivable, but their dad did not make them pay the price. Rather, he took the hose out and washed them clean. I don't want to go into the theology of the Christian worldview for redemption, but it's there. Don't want to go into the details. But ultimately, no one is beyond redemption. No one. And as a family unit, we need to be kind to each other. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching today. It's been a very good session. I must say here that really, it was really great to have people that stayed with me today. I just want to flag Keisha's last question as last part of this session. Ephraim, how do we encourage men if they feel down? Oh, Keisha, that is another episode actually, and hopefully this Movember series is going to be 3 episodes. So 2 weeks from today, on the 20th, we'll have another episode. And then 2 weeks from then, another one. I'm hoping that we'll have some guests who will join me to ask or to answer some of these questions. The same thing with the one that Catherine raised earlier on. How can we encourage men to be more open? So Keisha, you've taken it to another level. How can people that have men in their lives encourage them if they are feeling down? Very timely question, Keisha. I know that one thing that I can just chip in right now, I think just letting them know that you care, saying kind words, getting help for them, because sometimes we may not have the answers, but you could at least get help for them. Of course, you may need consent from them. That's where relationship comes in. And then not just getting to their face, because sometimes this, again, coming back to men, Keisha, this is where men kill themselves before time, because we want to fix everything. For things like this, we need to have men being able to be open by themselves, Keisha. But where there's help, being kind, saying kind words can do a lot of good. So Keisha, like I said, that question came to at the end, but we would definitely bring 1 or 2 persons alongside with me who are specialists in these areas as well, that can provide such more comprehensive answers. But today's session was really to just trigger that conversation around who wins. And I think justice has been done today. Thank you everyone for staying with me today. I really look forward to having you next time. Please keep in touch, keep connected. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.